Hello to all my guys, gals, and non-binary pals. It is Wick back with yet another Wicked Weekly Windup. I believe we are now on episode 22. We are in the, well, I was about to say in double digits. I know we've been in double digits for a little while, but I meant repeating double digits for the second and final time. Yeah, in about exactly a month and 2 days, y'all, the Wicked movie's gonna finally be out. I believe tickets are going on sale on November 1st. I think I saw that date, which also, of course, doesn't surprise me. But, definitely keep your eyes on that. And without further, well, I'm going to, of course, give a bit of an intro and all that, but without further ado to get into the video, as you can see by today's title, it will be the Elphaba analysis of, I guess we'll say, my 5-part character analysis series of kind of the main quintet of the Charm Circle, which of course is Elphaba's friend group, and of course saving the best for last, Elphaba. And then that'll be today's episode. With next week though being Halloween, I am open to any ideas anyone may have if there's any particular Halloween themed, because I do want to do a Wicked Halloween themed thing, and I'm thinking about either writing a fanfic or having a friend write me a fanfic to read. But if anyone has a better idea, absolutely feel free to let me know, because I definitely want to celebrate. I'm not actually dressing up as anybody Wicked related, so that's the reason I'm not doing a costume type thing. But otherwise, I totally would. And just as I know I've mentioned it in the past 2 videos, so some people are probably going, yeah, we already know this one, Wick. But in light of the Wicked movie releasing next month, what I was also hoping to do on November 1st in my Discord server is essentially ask like a question of the day related to Wicked, and just, whoever participates, I haven't decided how I'll make it into a competition yet, but like I said in my other videos, I like the idea of giving a Discord Nitro as kind of like a gift/reward to anyone who does, just to kind of get us hyped for the final month. So that's just to put that announcement out there again. If anyone's interested, I will be putting the link to my Discord in the description. But now we can get on with the actual video and away from my updates. Off we go to Oz. Alright, so I feel like, just given what Elphaba is, well, who Elphaba is and what she represents, it's only fitting that her kind of analysis be related to things like social justice and social rights and activism and movements and things like that. Because of course the biggest in marginalization and allyship, because of course the biggest one is her skin. Even though she's green, and obviously no human on Earth has been born green, at least not like her, the metaphor is pretty skin deep, we'll say, ironically enough. Girl with the wrong color skin is basically treated poorly her whole life for it. But what I liked though about Elphaba and about Wicked by as a whole, by proxy, is that even though again there were obvious racial undertones, it didn't just stick to that. There was also, Elphaba being queer. Even if you're not into Gelfie, you can't deny there were a lot of queer themes in the Wicked book. And not even just Elphaba and Glinda, but I mean, for example, just characters like Crope and Tibbet, and a lot of references to Elphaba kind of... I'm not saying that she's gender fluid, but essentially we'll say her gender fluidity, because, for example, for the entire book, she is referred to as a woman, but in the beginning, there even is a bit of like foreshadowing to her kind of, we'll say, also masculine side when, as she's being born, one of the nursemaids notices a bit of like dried skin between her legs and goes, wait a minute, is this a boy actually? And eventually they're like, no, it's just a piece of skin. It really was Elphaba. Though I have seen, or a girl, though I have seen some theories actually say that it might have been, she might have been born intersex. And I kind of like that interpretation. Because again, and I know it's a little bit stereotypical and a little bit off topic of the main analysis, but still, I mean, guys, it's Gay History Month. Gay stuff's still on topic. That Elphaba in the book is described as sometimes very angular and hawk-like in appearance and just very not stereotypically feminine. I know that doesn't automatically mean, oh, so she's manly and butch. No, of course not. But this idea that, at the very least, she's not conventionally feminine. And again, just that is also, you could say, another kind of dimension of her marginalization, both as a woman and a not feminine, kind of against the grain kind of woman. Because even in the introduction, for example, when she first is shown at Shiz, and for a moment she's kind of like, whoa, and then people are staring at her, she's like, what, do I have something in my teeth? And, she gets very sassy very quick, and, just this very firebrand of a personality. and when you have, again, all these overlapping factors, again, her womanness, her queerness, her gender queerness, and even in the book especially, they reference her poverty, because even though her family comes from essentially we'll say a noble line of Munchkins, in the beginning of the book, they're beginning to fall into hard times. So by the time Elphaba's going to Shiz, they are essentially a poor, disgraced family. And with Munchkinland also being, even in L. Frank Baum's original novel, a very obvious metaphor for the agricultural sector, you also imagine, okay, now she's moving to this fancy schmancy, in North Oz and Gilligan, in the rich place where Glinda lives, there's Shiz University like Hogwarts, and the farm girls go in there. So, to some extent, essentially Elphaba has to cope with kind of being the new girl in the areas, and like, oh, look, it's the poor farm girl. How'd she get here? All the rest of us are like elite. Fiyero goes to the school. He's a prince. So, again, a lot of cases where Elphaba could, like, a lot of chances for audience members to kind of relate and be like, oh my gosh, that's so me. And again, especially I like the kind of parallel that she has to Dorothy in that regard of, like, when Dorothy went to the Emerald City, like, oh, farm girl in the city. Like, that was the whole metaphor of L. Frank Baum's book, was like the farmers going into American cities. But that's what I'm saying with at least Elphaba as kind of this multifaceted figure. She can experience marginalization from many different angles of her identity, and I think that's a lot of what then fuels her into the meat and potatoes of Wicked in particular, which is animal rights activism. Because, as you know, Dr. Dillman, talking goat, things seem fine, but then there's the whole animal should be seen and not heard, and people kind of going, what's going on? There's something happening here in Oz. They're like stirring up these anti-animal sentiments. Why are they making us like not like these people? What's going on? Of course, Elphaba, who's been marginalized her whole life, whether it's something that's like bullying, like, oh, you have green skin, or even, again, maybe potentially the societal effects of this idea of, oh, but you're like a poor farm girl, and I'm Glinda, Arduina Upland of the Upper Uplands. There's that sense of classism there. So, Elphaba kind of witnessing this to the animals, she's kind of like, Dillamond, what's going on? This can't be real, right? So she kind of, to me, very much fits the, whoa, fresh-faced, fresh-eyed college student, first time out of town. You want to tackle on the world's problems, and you do have the kind of idealistic, well, if we just figure out what's wrong and ask the wizard, he'll help us. And, as she grows up, though, she begins to realize, oh, wait, the system's what's causing the problems. Can't really go to them to solve them. So, again, honestly, I think that Wicked is a really good, timeless story because, geez, everything I just described could accurately sum up 2024. And at least from my personal political experience, I was 16 back in the 2016 election, so technically too young to vote, but old enough to at least be like, well, Clinton and Trump, who are these people? And then 2020 I did vote, and then 2024 I also voted, did early voting, and y'all please do the same. That I've just seen my own self kind of go through a similar Elphaba kind of journey of this kind of like, I'm a gay woman and I want to stand up for everyone's rights, including that of, religious and racial and gender minorities, just to name a few, ability people, physical or mental. And, simplistic me as a youngster was like, oh, if we just be nice to people and band together and march and protest, Black Lives Matter, it'll be awesome. But, as I grew up, I realized, oh, how naive. It's not as simple as that. Like, it's not that I'm saying, oh, give up, it's all for naught. But it's not as simple as going, well, I went to that women's march, women's rights, y'all. Like, that's not where it ends. So I think with Wicked, I really like how they kind of show Elphaba getting into animal rights movements based upon her own kind of experience with feeling like an animal, of like, we should be seen and not heard. You shouldn't even be seen. With just essentially, like, I wish they could have done more with other things too. Again, like the race and gender and sexuality. Maybe they didn't want to overload it and have every problem in there all at once. I get that. But, me being biased, it would have been cool to see other facets of multiple kind of rights movements. Because, you guys, all this is leading up to a fancy term I want to teach maybe some of you. Because I know it's probably not new now, but it was like new when I first learned of it. Intersectionality. And what that word basically means is everything I've just described, with this idea that you're not just one person or one identity, you could be multiple. So again, Elphaba's a woman, and she's queer, and she's green, and she's poor, for example. That's 4 different identities. And the reason intersectionality and the concept of being able to kind of identify your different identities is not just to be like, okay, time to make ourselves into boxes, but to say, like, for example, again, like, maybe, what if there was like another green girl, but maybe she was born in Gillikin and grew up with Glinda? Like, they still might have teased her and be like, okay, but you're weird and green though. But perhaps if she had been born up north, that maybe just financially she'd have been more likely to be rich and could have then been like, well, sure, you know, people are still going to laugh at me for being a green girl, but at least I got money. So it's sort of this idea that, again, we're not just one thing, and that even within a certain sphere, our other identities can impact us. Because, for example, as a darker side, sometimes people have discussed racism in the LGBTQ plus community, because you may think, yo, gay people and trans people, do you not understand what it feels like to be hated on for something you can't control? Like, what is this? But it's very true. There absolutely can be racism in this community. And the opposite's true, too. Like, you can have, you know, white gay people that are sexist. You can have trans people that are biphobic or you know, anti-Semitic. You know what I mean? Like, essentially, being part of a minority group doesn't magically make you a champion of equality for all, essentially. And that was just for me, at least, when I first learned intersectionality, I was like, that's a good point. So, just for me, because again, maybe nowadays people are going, yeah, we already knew about intersectionality, that's obvious. But to back when I first learned it, to me, I was like, oh, cool. But actually, and this is another kind of, this segues into kind of, we'll say, the final part of the analysis that I wanted to get to, because I know this one wasn't super structured, where it was like point, point, point. It was kind of more free-flowing stream of consciousness, but I did still have an outline of what I wanted to get to. Was, and this is the few weird, funny, timely, magical, lucky thing of it all. Well, not lucky like good, but just fate, chance. I knew I wanted to do an alphabet analysis and what should happen within this week, except our leading lady reacting to a fan edit of a poster of hers in quite the diva-ish and inflammatory way. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. That was kind of weird and funny to me, because I'm just chilling, scrolling through social media, and suddenly I see, yeah, Cynthia was complaining about erasure because a fan erased her eyes in the poster trying to recreate the musical poster. And I read all of it, and I'm just like, man, y'all, it's October 2024. We've got other things to be worried about, unless this was some sort of, like, distractionary tool. Just, because I get it, you know, honestly, I read a lot of, you know, on a lot of social media platforms, a lot of discussion about her reaction and was it okay or not, and people laughing, people face popping, people cringing, people shaking their fingers. I just kind of shook my head and was like, really? A little disappointed, because I'm like, Elfie, that doesn't strike me as you to care about things like that. But I also get it too. Somebody pointed out, you know, if you're an actress, you it's just that world they live in is more likely to be the type to be like, whoa, 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 you can't just erase my face like that. Whereas maybe for other people, they'd be like, dude, it was an homage to the play that if it didn't exist, your movie wouldn't exist. Because I must confess, for me, I was a little bit like, girl, what you doing? It's a little embarrassing. Come on, Elfie, get a thicker skin, thicker green skin, dragon scales. That's actually why I won't even lie why I wore this shirt. I know I'm a little bit mean maybe, and you know, I really was tempted to have the whole video done like this, because I honestly like both posters, but I really like the sassiness of the musical one, because I do feel like she does have this kind of smirk to her. That's not to say, because I feel like she does have a slight smirk in the movie poster too, but I feel like it is bigger in this version. So I like both. I got a fondness for the original because of the smirk. So when she reacted so negatively, I was like, dang, why didn't you like both? I like both. Like, when I even saw the movie poster itself, I was delighted that it was a very obvious homage to the poster. I'm like, you had Ariana whispering into Cynthia's ear. Of course I know what you're referencing. That's cute. So when I saw the fan edit, I was like, whoa, full circle. And, you know, I would have thought the actress would have also, like, obviously seen that, but I guess she somehow took it as like a weird like oppression silencing thing, which again, I'm not trying to tell anyone how to feel oppressed. Like, we're not out here to tell each other experiences. We're not out here to judge, because I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, who cares? But I just kind of feel for that fan where I'd be like, dang man, that would have destroyed me if I was younger, to make something, a fan art for like something I love, and then to get crapped on by the person themselves. Ugh. Now, I'm not saying that Cynthia's, oh, evil witch, but I'm just like, man. But hey, you know, again, it's just, admittedly, I was thinking it over, or again, you know, trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, in the sense it's just, not that it's okay or excusable, but that, again, she's not a monster for this. It's sometimes a deep-ish thing to do, not, you know, it's one of those take it or leave it. It's not like she's the only, you know, actress or actor in general to be kind of like that. And at least for what my friends and I were kind of joking a little bit, me and one of them I was texting where I was like, can you believe this? That we were like, to be fair, even if it was one of those like cringe-worthy moments of like first world problems, I have to admit, it did give me the, oh, did I have something in my teeth? Like, I just imagined Cynthia on the warpath, and I was like, to be fair, I mean, even if we may not agree on the trigger of the event, the fire, I feel like I'm like, okay, that's a little bit elfy, a little bit. Just if we like the fiery spice. Again, I'm not saying that what she said and did was like acceptable, and I'm like, oh, do it again for my entertainment. But it's just one of those things that you shake your head at and laugh at, and I couldn't help but be like, well, again, I know once in the past I mentioned that my favorite Broadway Elphaba was Donna Vivino because she did give Elphaba a little bit more bite that I feel like, no, again, this is not shade on Idina, but I feel like, and I know, again, Frozen wasn't out when Wicked was first out, but essentially I felt like book to musical Elphaba was softened and almost Elsified, like, let it go, I am sad, you know, whereas Book Elphaba was kind of like, oh, I will literally rip you a new one and roast you to high heaven to your face with no hesitation. And again, I mean, that kind of what made her a little bit witchy was her kind of like, I will say whatever. I don't care if it offends you. Oh, well, I guess, snowflake. Like, Book Elphaba could be that way a little bit. And I'm like, So, but again, I'm still looking forward to seeing the movie. This one did briefly give me pause where I was like, dude, I was literally looking into buying the tickets this week and this happened. Now I feel embarrassed. But man, I personally am still going to see it. And, you know, I'm interested to see if anyone's still listening, what you guys thought of my video and of the poster whole shenanigans thing. And hey, did you prefer this? Or did you prefer this? Because honestly, in the past, I like to show this because, I mean, admittedly, she does technically have eyes. She may not have drawn-in eyes, but she does have, like, indents in her face that I want to show. But there's been many a time where she'll sit on my desk until I record these things, sometimes with one eye showing, sometimes with none showing, and I've never been like, I just kind of think it all looks cool. Because again, my sister painted this for me, so again, shout out to my sister for making this. Thank you. But that is all I have today for this this wandering Wicked Weekly Windup. And I look forward to seeing everyone. Well, here's maybe a question for next week, a fun thing. If anyone is doing any Wicked-related costumes, feel free to send me photos. And if you're not comfortable putting your face in them, feel free to just send me pictures of, like, the outfit or something. Like, lay it on your bed and be like, hey, I made a Glinda dress or something like that. Or, like, here's a selfie of me and Fiero, but you crop out your head or something. Just because I really do want to do something special for Halloween. And even though I myself am not dressing up, I'm sure there's somebody out there that's doing something a little bit wicked for Halloween. So maybe you can send it in to be part of next week's video. But for now...